energy and I will never stop. I'm motivated by enemies, setting up shop so everybody remember me. And no, I am not going through life regretfully. I'd rather work non-stop, what they call incessantly, than work some odd job just to live life pleasantly. Already got lost in my mind, not a fantasy, I'm getting it. Forgotten soul, so stop, drop, and roll. You lost all control and pop off your ball. I got squat, I fall, I'm not bought, I'm sold. My stock rocks, it's gold. Hey, knock, knock, she home. It's shit, talk to close. I ain't stopping though, it's hip-hop, you know. Or is it rock and roll? I'm not dropping down, no, my pockets grow. You can't stop the show, so get rockin' up. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't here to make friends. Yeah. I ain't never slowing down, keep on going till I'm down. No, I'm never slowing down, cause we're blowing up now. I ain't never slowing down, keep on going till I'm down. No, I'm never slowing down, cause we're blowing up. Hard points like a weapon, attack with no questions. In my own section and they still disconnected, cause their mind's been infected and they're filled with objection. Too filled for recollection, so we're losing all attention. They don't know I'm in contention, cause I'm gaining their attention, cause I'm making a connection. Lyricism and aggression got me feeling my ascension. In my passion, my profession, I'm attacking my obsession, taking action and progressing. I go off on the enemy, that's what makes them scared of me. Make my plans carefully, then execute them daringly. They say I act recklessly, but that's why I'm effective. See, you can't predict my tendencies, I offer no transparency. Some people think I'm lost, others think I'll be a legend. I'm never gonna stop till I'm one above second. And my thoughts at the top, but my mind stay present. Don't let your dreams stop, cause dreaming is a blessing. They tell me all the same, told me I won't make a name. But it's not about the fame, it's about keeping me sane. So I stay within my lane, feel my blood pump through my veins. Feel adrenaline, no pain, welcome all to my domain. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. I'm taking that crown.
All right, you guys, good evening. Sorry about that. I've got some technical difficulties going on over here, but it's nice to see everybody again. Once again, I'll get to you guys in the chat once we get around to it. I want to tell you guys I saw some last-minute commitments in the transfer portal. I'm actually going to pull them up on my cell phone because the websites aren't doing it justice. But I saw some commitments, most definitely or most significantly, the ODU quarterback committing. And I think he's going to Western Michigan, which is incredible because Western Michigan, for a long time, when I looked at the transfer portal, they weren't getting anyone of note. So it's really cool for them to finally get a starting quarterback in the transfer portal. Hayden Wolff leaving ODU to go to Western Michigan is a big deal. This is a guy that, was a young quarterback, and he's been there for 4 years. He said he lost a lot of his teammates, a lot of his favorite teammates and friends, so he was ready to move on. He's from Florida, but obviously going to ODU to play football and then going, from Florida going up there, he didn't want to come home. So he goes to Western Michigan, a school that was not looking for transfers. If I go in here and I go pull up, and let's just go On3 transfer portal, and I show you guys, whenever I go to On3, it can do some really wonky things. But what I like to do is click on it. I actually have to expand it to get to where I want to go because at the top bar does not populate unless you're on a full screen. Apparently it's not showing up. There it is. So I drag it out a little bit, and I can go to Transfer Portal Team Rankings. These rankings will come up. It doesn't matter. Just click on one of the icons. Once you get there, now you can pick a team. You're going to go in here, and we're going to go to the MAC, and we're going to go to Western Michigan real quick, one of the directional Michigan schools. No one cares about this but me. And then if you look, transfers they have coming in, they haven't even updated it yet, so they don't even know what they're getting. But let me tell you what they are getting, Western Michigan. This is Keyshawn King. This top guy here was the leading rusher at Virginia Tech last year. Transfers out of Virginia Tech. Now he only rushed for 400 yards or so, but it doesn't matter. The leading rusher at Virginia Tech is now at Western Michigan. And that's because Western Michigan went and lost Sean Tyler. Sean Tyler, a back-to-back 1,000-yard rusher, just transferred to Minnesota to go take over for Mo Ibrahim. Now, Sean Tyler's a home run threat. He's not a battering ram like Mo Ibrahim is. And Sean Tyler leaving Western Michigan is a huge deal. The other thing that Western Michigan lost, and this is why I thought Western Michigan's going to be worse next year, is not only did they lose Sean Tyler, they lose Braden Fisk to Florida State. All the recruiting websites will tell you this is the best defensive lineman in the transfer portal, blah, blah, blah. Look, he's a good player, but he ain't the best defensive lineman in the transfer portal. And he's not the best player that Western Michigan lost. Sean Tyler is. This is going to be a household name next year. Everybody's going to know Sean Tyler. Remember where you heard it first, okay? The next guy they lost, Andre Carter, going to Indiana. Okay, it's a pretty big deal. Losing Ryan Seelig, this is their leading tackler, goes to Minnesota. Corey Crooms, the team's leading receiver, goes to Minnesota. So when you see their best three players, Corey Crooms, Ryan Seelig, and Sean Tyler, going to Minnesota from Western Michigan, you just got big brother, bro. You just got poached by a Power 5 team. They took everybody you got, and your backfill isn't any good. And now they get Hayden Wolf, decent quarterback. That's a great get for them. But when I look at this Minnesota team or this Western Michigan team, they lost everybody that was good. And you know how good Corey Crooms is? All the wide receivers at Minnesota jumped in the damn transfer portal. They don't stand a chance. Not against that guy. Corey Crooms is a good receiver. And another receiver Minnesota got was, who's the leading receiver from? Elijah Spencer, the leading receiver from Charlotte. We all talk about Grant DuBose being an NFL product. Grant DuBose gets drafted in the 7th round by the Packers. I love Grant DuBose. But the leading receiver at Charlotte last year was Elijah Spencer, and he just transferred to Minnesota as well. So Minnesota went out and just revamped their whole team through the transfer portal in some of these skill positions. And one of the teams on the losing end of that was Western Michigan. So just something rapid fire to start you guys off with one of these latest moves. Another move today was, I think we heard that Bryant, right? Ben Bryant, transferring out of Cincinnati. Ben Bryant is leaving Cincinnati, and he's going to Northwestern. Northwestern, in my rankings, let me pull up my rankings real quick. In my transfer portal rankings here, I don't know if you guys can read that if it's too small. I don't know the pixels, but I'll scroll down for you guys. Northwestern ranked 126th. Before they just found a starting quarterback in the transfer portal. But 126th, if I just add them, they only had one signing. It was a wide receiver, Cam Johnson, out of Arizona State. So he's transferring back to the Big Ten. Where did he start his career? I think, you know what? It's not the Big Ten. He started at Vandy, transferred to Arizona State. Now he's going to Northwestern. But if I change this number to a 2, and I say they got themselves a starting quarterback, and they're getting him for 1 year, that immediately puts them at a -6 now in their ratings. And that moves them from 126th up to 119, 120 time frame rank. One guy added to your team moves you up about 6 slots on this rankings. I know you guys want to see my rankings. I know you guys want to read all my notes, see all of my Excel spreadsheets, but I haven't decided to put them out there. We will probably start a Discord someday, a Google Docs, and we'll share everything. But in due time, you guys, pace yourselves. Nonetheless, those are some pretty big moves at the quarterback position. Word is Peyton Thorne taking a trip to Auburn. Going to go be the starting quarterback over there. He's at 100%, Michigan State to Auburn. I don't know if he's an upgrade, but they say he's going to Auburn. They're saying Casey Thompson's going to Florida. I hate talking about rumors. Rumors don't work for me. I don't do it. I don't care about crystal balls. I care about commitments and enrollments. More importantly, enrollments, because guys are switching their commitments left and right. So we'll get started. Tonight, the theme tonight, if you guys haven't been watching all the live streams, my first live stream, I talked about all the quarterbacks, ones that are available, where they committed, where they're going, what they're doing. And I gave you a breakdown of, I think I did the top 25 quarterbacks in the transfer portal, and why some of them are not, they're not guys that you should be interested in signing. And then a lot of them just need an opportunity, right? Quarterbacks is a very finite position, meaning there's not a lot of them to go around. And once somebody's a starter, you got to go somewhere else. There's not going to be a huge backfill of them. There's just limited numbers of quarterbacks everywhere. And it's the hardest position in the world to play. I mean, think about it. In the NFL, there's only 32 starting quarterbacks in the world. On this entire globe, there's only 32. And how many do it well? There's people who do this thing their whole life. And only 32 get to do it at the highest level every Sunday. And I'd say 15 are good. At any given time, 15 people are good at this one job. It's a very difficult job. And it's not just threading the needle. It's not just throwing the rock. It's game management. It's knowing down and distance. It's knowing the play clock, the audibles, how to slide your protection if your center's not on top of it, how to read defenses. It's a lot of different things, and as well as throwing the football. So nonetheless, we're going to be talking about wide receivers tonight. I will also get back with you guys. I will be in the chat. I will read the chat. I will catch up. You'll be behind. It might be 30 minutes. It might be an hour. But I'm going to get to your question. Stick around and wait for me. I will cover 5 guys on the list. Go to the chat. 5 guys on the list. Go to the chat. That's my battle rhythm. That's how I get down. So if you're in here and you're waiting for me to answer one of your questions, please don't spam it. Please don't repeat it. Okay? If you get in here late, if you get in the live stream late, go back to the beginning. Start over. And just watch it slowly. Put it at 1.25 speed and enjoy. Yes, Ash is in the house. She just got in. So if she interrupts us, she interrupts us. We might have to give her some time to play. But here we go. So without further ado, we're going to talk about wide receivers in the transfer portal, and then we'll get to the chat. I'm not ignoring you guys. I'll be right there with you. All right, so first and foremost, the number 1 rated wide receiver in the transfer portal is Jordan Hudson. Coming out of high school, I think he was the 7th best wide receiver in the country. Jordan Hudson played 1 year at TCU as a freshman. I'm going to tell you right now, when I look at his name, and if you guys see me look off the screen, I'm actually staring at this chart that you guys have in front of you. I have it on my other monitor. So I just keep looking at who he is. But Jordan Hudson played at TCU. He's a good player. But when he was coming out of high school, he committed to SMU. And at the last second, he flipped and went to TCU. Now, I don't think he regrets it. But I think there's a real loyalty and a real desire to play at SMU. So he's in the transfer portal, and he's 100% to SMU. According to that crystal ball. And you guys know how I feel about that. But there he is. So he's not even a viable option for Coach Prime in Colorado. He's probably not what you're looking for. As far as height goes, he's only 6'1", 190. I think the one thing Colorado's missing is a wide receiver that's above 6'2", is what we talked about this earlier today. So looking for tall wide receivers, because they got a ton of little ones, a ton of slot receivers. When you look at your receivers, if you guys ever hear the term XYZ receivers, an X receiver, I want you to think of the alphabet. When you're looking at the field, your X receiver is your number 1 receiver. It's the guy on the outside, okay? And then your Y receiver, right, is the slot receiver, including your tight end sometimes. But so you got X, Y, and then Z. The Z is the other wide receiver out on the outside, and that's the guy that's actually off of the line of scrimmage. So there's a slot, there's a guy off, and then there's a guy on the line. When you got a guy on the line of scrimmage, you're number 1. We always talk about it. It's the guy that can win your 50-50 balls. It's your guy that can go up and meet the ball at the highest point. It's somebody with quote-unquote ball skills. Pause. But you're looking for that guy that can stretch the defense, that can run that fade, that can run that hard comeback, sell the fade, get the corner to turn his hips, and then shut it down, right, on a dime, turn around and get it done. So you're looking for those goal line routes. Right now, the way we assess it, Colorado's missing that type of receiver right now. What they have are some great receivers that can do some amazing things with drags, can do amazing things in bubble screens, get a lot of yak, do all that. So is Travis Hunter the guy that's going to stretch the defense? I don't think he has enough deep threat speed, but he's definitely got the goal line routes to do it. So more power to him. Yes, Ash is going ham on one of her toys right now. If you hear her, I apologize. All right, so after Jordan Hudson, going to SMU, there's nothing to talk about there. You're looking at Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman, coming out of Michigan State. Everybody's talking about him. If you guys don't know who Keon Coleman is, let me explain it to you. He's a dual threat player. And when I say dual threat, I mean two-sport athlete. This man played basketball at Michigan State. Do you know how good you got to be to play basketball at Michigan State? And football? He's all state and everything. Keon Coleman's the truth. He's 6'4" or 6'5", however you want to do it. 6'4", 210 pounds. But he jumps in the portal. Everybody tells me he had a meeting with Mel Tucker. I went and read up on it. I did some research on it while we've been offline. And yeah, he had a meeting with Mel Tucker. But you know what? When a player has a meeting with their coach after they jump in the portal, that means they're not all in. That means they're not trying to leave. It means they want to give it a chance. Because I see plenty of players jump in the portal and alienate themselves from the coaching staff. Get away from it all. And you can't talk to them. They're on their way. They're out and they're gone. Okay? The fact that he had a meeting with the head coach after it, well, that's a sign of immaturity. You probably should have asked for a meeting with him before. But they're kids. I understand. They go there. So check it out. Keon Coleman has that meeting, but he doesn't pull out of the portal. No, he doesn't. What does he do? This man is still going on a trip, and he's going to Florida State. He's going on a trip to Florida State. Now, he's just going to go on a recruiting trip, just go see what it's like. Just going to Florida State. And the reason for this is coming out of high school, he was actually recruited. He's from Louisiana. But coming out of high school, he was actually recruited by Norvell. But because it was COVID, he never got to see the campus. You guys better hope Florida State facilities aren't that much better than Michigan State's. I know they're better. I know it probably looks really – I know – I've seen the program, bro. I know it's got to look beautiful. And I think they're going to try to seal the deal. Remember, they just lost Michael Pittman to the portal. They just lost McClain to Penn State earlier in the portal in the winter. So there's an appetite. And the one thing Florida State has that Michigan State cannot offer is a real quarterback, is a winning pedigree, is a top 10 team, you know, somebody fighting for a title in a Power 5 conference. Everybody out there's talking about Florida State, you know, Clemson. This is the ACC next year. And, oh, my goodness, you're about to get a deep threat. This is a man who led Michigan State in everything. Now, look, he led Michigan State in every statistical category at receiver. And that's with Reed on the team. Reed just got drafted 50th overall. The 50th best player in the damn draft this last week. And this man has more stats than him. This man has more production than him. And all they ever say is, man, Reed only went 50th because he didn't have a good quarterback. He would have done even better. And that's why he jumped in the portal. And Ash is here to say hello. Apologize. It's her time of the night. This is the night that we hang out. We do great things. She's putting in work right now. Forgive me. So Keon Coleman, a marquee wide receiver in the portal. One thing I want to say is he's going to be on this trip at FSU with the kid Key, right? Jalen Key from UAB. They're going to be on this trip together. And everybody's been offering Key as well. Alabama, it's a who's who's been offering him. Come on, sweetie, I'm busy. Ow. You got to stop. Give me a second, guys. She's getting me, she's tearing me up. The other thing is he's not interested. I don't think he's ever going to come to Colorado. He wears number 0. And you know what Coach Prime said about guys wearing number 0. So Keon Coleman does wear number 0. Next, we got Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson, wide receiver out of Colorado. You guys know the deal. Jordan Tyson is a very good wide receiver. He contributed last year. He's great in the return game. He probably just doesn't talk a lot of smack, right? He probably just doesn't talk a lot of smack. But he's visiting Oklahoma. So Oklahoma's going to cash in on somebody that Colorado let go. He's got offers from West Virginia. Hey, shout out to North Texas. North Texas and Texas State both took a swing and offered this kid. He's got about a dozen offers. And I thought some of them were impressive. Kansas and Arizona State. Auburn and Cal. So ton of interest in Jordan Tyson. And Montana Luminous Craig has the same offers. He has the same offers as Tyson with the exception of the Oklahoma one. But the big ones are West Virginia and Oregon State. But, yeah, these guys are going to a Power 5 school. So, shout out to them. And we'll go down to our fifth one before I go to the chat, and that's Xavier Henderson. Now, if you want to know a wide receiver in the transfer portal who's getting a ton of offers, it's Xavier Henderson. You know how they always try to tell me Anthony Richardson's wide receivers weren't good? And everybody told me Anthony Richardson completed 53% of his passes because his wide receivers couldn't catch. Bruh. I've done the research. I've talked about this at length. But Emory Jones had those same wide receivers. You got to swap out Copeland for Pearsall. But either way, he had Xavier Henderson and who was the other guy? Shorter? Is it Justin? What's Shorter's first name? Justin Shorter. He just got drafted in the 5th round. Do you know Xavier Henderson's offers? It's Georgia. It's Alabama, Tennessee. It's the who's who of the SEC, Ole Miss. Everybody's offering this man. Everybody told me these receivers suck. But I'm telling you, I went back and looked, man. Emory Jones, and I watched all the games. Emory Jones completed 65% of his passes the 1 year he started at Florida. 65% of his passes. These very same receivers, Anthony Richardson completes 53% of his passes. It's an accuracy issue. They're telling me it's footwork. They blame the receivers. They dropped all these passes. Bruh, these guys are great. And shout out to Georgia for once again admitting their receiving core is terrible and offering a receiver like Xavier Henderson to come in. There's a guy at Florida that can start at your school. Hate to break it to you, Georgia fans, but they offered a running back named Bishal Tutton from the FCS to come in and start over all your running backs. And they're offering receivers from a 6 and 7 team. So be realistic. All right, let's go to the chat. I apologize. Let me drag you guys over so I can read what's going on here. Shout out to those of you who are here. I appreciate you from being here. Your loyal listener, glad to have you guys here. Call me the plug. What's up? I'm here to give it to y'all. The dog is chilling tonight. She's not chilling. She's going crazy every night. What up, Gino? Good to see you, brother. Love my channel. Well, I love your guys' support. Shout out to you, Don Howard. Good evening, everybody. Hey, Steve is one of the OGs. Steve is one of my very first male followers since I started talking sports on TikTok, so I appreciate Steve for finding the time to be here. Good for him. Shout out to Don. Cade Barron. What are your thoughts on Texas Tech this upcoming year and their quarterback room? Morton is my high school coach's son. Yeah, so Morton is going to be a backup quarterback. They just made room. One of the Donovan just transferred to Houston to be the starter out there. So Morton's next up. And that's all there is to it. There's not much else to say. But if he's starting games, they're not winning. That means they got an injury to Tyler Tyler Shuck. What's up with ODU? Did the coach leave or something? No, the coach didn't leave. The players left. They had a bad season, right? ODU came into the came to the FBS a couple years back. What is it, 2 years now? 3 years? And they didn't quite have the same traction and improvement and performance that JMU had. And it's rubbing a lot of these players the wrong way. And they're departing. That's all there is to it. So I don't know how they bounce back. I looked at the transfer portal class. I'm telling you guys, I have Old Dominion's transfer portal class ranked way low. I wish I could pull it up. I could pull it up. What do I have these guys ranked? Old Dominion falling apart. Let's go find it. ODU. Old Dominion, 130th. And it's going to get worse because, oh, no, it's not. I already accounted for them losing their quarterback. But, oh, my goodness, 130th? You're behind Arizona, who lost their entire team to UMass. How are you behind Wyoming and Stanford? I'll never know. But, yeah, ODU, 130th out of 133 teams. It's a rough look, bruh. That's a rough look for them. So be it. ODU's having a tough time. Bro stumbled on your TikTok because someone has shared it. I've been hooked ever since. Hey, shout out to you, William E. Daniels. I appreciate you guys recognizing the greatness. You know, I just had a guy talk to me tonight. I don't know who these guys are. They do a podcast here on YouTube, And he reached out to me and he said, hey, man, if you want to learn about the transfer portal, I can talk to you and teach you about it because you're all wrong, is what he told me. So I said, all right, well, who the hell are you? He says, oh, I'm the player personnel. I used to work at Alabama. I used to run this at Ole Miss. I used to run this at South Alabama. So I did a Google search. I found him. Okay, yeah, he used to have all these jobs. He don't have those jobs anymore. And I don't think he understands how the transfer portal works because a lot of old coaches don't understand how it works. I like to think that I found something that nobody knows and just put in all the time and effort that they wish they could and they wish they had. And I'm all in. So it's nice to be able to share this bit of, it doesn't matter what you know about football. It doesn't matter what you know about college football. Nobody knows the transfer portal more than me. It's impossible. I'm putting in 20 hours a day. I'm putting in 16 hours a day. I sleep and go for a run every now and then. I'm putting in work, guys. And it's just great to share this with you guys and talk to you. So I appreciate the support and you guys finding it. Now, that being said, if you just found my TikTok, you've got about 2,000 videos to go watch. And they're 3 minutes long each. You can do about 20 an hour. Good luck. Good luck. There's a lot to watch. You'll never get tired. You'll never see it all. Not if you sit down and really try to watch it. I could be your favorite movie. You're not going to finish all my content. It's impossible. At this point, it's impossible. I wish you well. But thanks for showing up. Thanks for hanging with us. That's awesome, man. Do not talk crap about my alma mater, Western Michigan. Yeah, so I don't care what your alma mater is. I never talk crap about anybody. I'm positive, but I do evaluate 133 teams. I evaluate every single team. And somebody's got to be at the bottom of the rankings. Someone's got to be at the bottom of the poll. Someone's losing traction. For every team that's improving with the transfer portal, somebody's not improving quite as much, right? That's just the reality of the situation. So it is what it is. Where you chose to go to school, where you finished school, not my problem, all right? I'm just keeping it real. I will not pull punches because I have favorites or anything of that nature. Shout out to Western, yeah, Kalamazoo, yep, Western Michigan. He must be interested in academics going to Northwestern. Yeah, it's not being interested in academics. It's meeting the standard for their academics to get into Northwestern. Bear Bryant is actually an Illinois kid, so the transfer makes sense. He wanted to get closer to home. This is going back home. It's his final year of college, so he chose a university closer to home. That's what it really comes down to, so shout out to him. Also do your thing. Colorado's interior linemen are good to go. Okay, so I'll be talking about linemen tomorrow, offensive linemen specifically, because I'm doing receivers and tight ends combined tonight, and there's not many tight ends to talk about. But the interior linemen at Colorado, to me, I think they're pretty good. I think the starting 22, the starting 11 on each side of the ball is pretty damn good at Colorado. I know a lot of people talk about it. Oh, they got to get bigger guys up front. They got to get better. They say that stuff, and they've never watched the team, and they didn't do any research on the team. They just say that. It's just a knee-jerk reaction. It's like when somebody says USC needs to work on their defense. USC has no defense. Oh, USC's not going to be great. They got great offense, but they ain't got no defense. It's like, did you not see their transfer portal additions? Do you not know who they just signed? They got an all-conference linebacker to transfer in. How many all-conference players in the Power 5 hit the transfer portal? I'll wait. I know two, Dorian Singer and Mason Cobb. Both went to USC. So it's just one of these things. This isn't five-star recruits. This is all-conference players transferring. USC knocked it out the park when it comes to shoring up their front seven. Now, the production on the field, them actually playing, that's on them. They got to get it done. But as far as the template answer, the cookie cutter answer to everybody is just says, oh, they have no defense. It's just like Colorado, oh, they need to work on their line. Bruh, I've seen it. I've seen who they signed. I know who's on the team. I know who's in the starting lineup, and I'm going, hey, they're all right. This is a good transitional team. I think they're going to transition just great. Morant's Rants asks, Rico knows, what do you know about Puka, the Rams wide receiver? So did they draft Puka? So he originally started at Washington, and then he transferred to BYU. I watch him on tape. He doesn't pop on tape for me. He doesn't pop on tape. That's my way of saying he doesn't stand out. That's why I didn't make a video about him, just so you know. What position should CU target, and which players do you want them to go after? Yeah, so I'm going to cover every position group within these live streams. So I started with quarterbacks. I did running backs this morning. I'm doing wide receivers this evening. I'm going to hit every position group. And as I go, I'm going to identify certain players. Now, tonight, what I'm looking for are wide receivers over 6'2", 6'3", and the potential to contribute to the Colorado team. But I'm going to talk about every single receiver. I usually do the top 25 of each group. Some of them are not. They're not Colorado caliber. They're not better than the players they have on the team right now. Some of these guys with 4 stars are complete busts, are terrible. But when you heard these guys, some of these are already set in stone. Obviously, in these top 5 guys they have here, Xavier Henderson, he's going to get a bag. This is an NIL deal waiting to happen. Colorado can't compete with those guys. Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee. What are they paying these guys? I don't know. Lomanis, Craig, and Tyson are both gone. They were already on Colorado. And then Keon Coleman, he's looking at Florida State or going back to Michigan State. Jordan Hudson's already allocated, right? He's already spoken for. So you guys got to be realistic about what we're talking about. But I'll take my time and talk about things. What's the one position group I think Colorado needs to address the most? I would say, and they can't really do it because there's nobody out there, but they need linebackers and mean ones. They need linebackers that will punish any running back getting to the next level. They need linebackers that can get off of blocks of linemen coming up to the next level. They need linebackers that can cover. They need speed. And it's no knock on who they have right now. But when Devontae Bentley's your starting linebacker, I'm like, man, that was a role player who couldn't break the 2 deep at Clemson. The thing is, he looks grown. He's been lifting weights at Clemson for years. He looks a lot better than the other linebackers that Colorado has. Just something to think about. Like you said this morning, Colorado has 3 6'2" freshmen coming in. Yep, for sure. They have size. Not really a big deal if no hooks. Yeah, we're going to get to hooks here, Shane Hooks. I got news for you guys. Shane Hooks, I don't think he's a huge upgrade. I want to keep going through the chat. Once I catch up on the chat, I'll go back to the receivers and I'll bounce back and forth. Okay? The main wide receiver that I want to hear about are from Jackson State. Don Howard, there are 3 Jackson State wide receivers in the transfer portal. I will get to all of them. E.J. Horton took a visit to CU. He runs a 4.3 prime love speed. Yeah, I saw E.J. Horton's post. I think he wrote on Twitter, and he said he runs a 4.3. I went back to watch all his tape when I saw that, Marlo. I want to tell you that little guys running 4.3s don't get me too excited. How big is E.J.? Let's find out. You can see he's in purple, meaning I've searched him before. So being at Marshall, yeah, he's 6 foot 180. We already have 3 of those guys. I know the more the merrier, and I shouldn't say we, but Colorado already has a bunch of these guys. 6 foot 180. It's not what you're looking for at this point. You're looking for upgrades. Now, it doesn't hurt to have a lot of depth in wide receivers because you can convert wide receivers, right? These guys are on special teams. These are gunners on the punt team. You can convert these guys to DBs if need be. I don't know. But E.J. Horton's a wide receiver. I've looked at his tape. I've looked at everything he does. Not too excited about it. I think he's probably going to have to go a different route, to be honest. E.J. Horton's not leaving Marshall like he was balling out of control at Marshall. Okay? He wasn't balling. Look, I'm going to go click on him. We're talking about a couple 186 yards at a group of 5 school. But he's from Kentucky, man. You know where he needs to go with that kind of speed? Western Kentucky. But you're not going from group of 5 to power 5 unless you have an immense amount of measurables and traits and maybe some production and dominating at that echelon. Then you show up to the power 5. That's usually how it works. Any chance McCaskill gives South Carolina a look, need a feature back desperately? No, Jeff Kelly, that's not on the radar. And I believe South Carolina has a feature back. Mario Anderson Jr. is a 1,500-yard rusher transferring from Division II. And I've looked at the tape, and the man looks like Emmitt Smith. He's got powerful legs, breaks tackles, and he can run the rock. There's a reason he's going from Division II straight to the SEC. I promise you. They're okay. Mario Anderson Jr. can carry the load. Pause. I'm cool with it. Shane Hooks might end up at Utah Utes. Let me tell you. I have notes on Shane Hooks. And when I looked at Shane Hooks, everybody needs to remember, coming out of high school, where was Shane Hooks getting offers to? Do you guys know where he committed to out of high school? It was Ohio, the Bobcats. Okay? That's the caliber of player he is. The MAC. Then he goes to Jackson State and he balls out and he shows everybody, hey, man, I can do this. I'm 6'5", 200 pounds. He's right here on the list. He's the fifth one down, sixth one down. Okay, you look great. Look at that. They gave him a 9.0 as a transfer score. But have you seen his offers since he got in the transfer portal? Has anybody bothered to look up his offers? Cincinnati, ODU. ODU, I told you they're struggling to find players. They offered him. Sorry, my dog's bugging me. Western Michigan, UNLV, and Ole Miss. So he takes the fool's gold. He says, I'm going to commit to Ole Miss. But when you have all those offers and only one school is SEC caliber, you might be committing to the wrong school. You might need to pick a different school. One, be a little more realistic about your talent. Maybe you're not built for the SEC. Maybe you're built for UNLV or Western Michigan, because this is who he got offers from. UNLV, Western Michigan. I looked at it and I went, whoa, ODU? I just did my research. I realized no teams are really reaching out. They're not starving for this man. Is everybody missing? Is everybody missing on him? Is that what it is? Or maybe they know something we don't. That's all I'm saying. Go back to this chat here. This Colorado talk, not South Carolina. Yeah, no, I'll talk about anyone and everyone. I want everybody to know that. Malachi Wideman played both sports at JSU. Yeah, Malachi Wideman is a poor man's Keon Coleman. He really is. Good-sized kid, super athletic. It concerns me that his mother went out and got, do you guys know McPherson? Who remembers McPherson? That's Wideman's mentor. Who remembers McPherson? Does anybody remember McPherson? Adrian McPherson, Mr. Football for Florida and Mr. Basketball for Florida. He's the first guy to be Mr. Basketball, Mr. Football for Florida. If you guys don't remember, he went to Florida State. He wore number 5 like Reggie Bush. And he started playing his freshman year. He played great his sophomore year. I'm saying like 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions type great. I remember he was phenomenal. And he gets kicked off the team. He was writing fraudulent checks. He was like in a check cashing scheme. They come to find out he was betting on games he was playing in, meaning he's point shaving and throwing the games. They kicked him out of school. He never played college ball again. I remember he ended up going to the Arena League and throwing 60-something touchdowns and 9 interceptions. He did something in the Arena League no one's ever seen. And then I think it was the Firebirds, Indiana Firebirds. And then he got drafted in the 5th round by the Saints. And you guys want to know how this guy's career ended? And I'm only talking about Adrian McPherson because he is Wideman's mentor to keep him out of trouble. This man, I'm trying to say this with a straight face. In the preseason with the Saints, and one of the games, you guys can Google this shit. It's outrageous. And I'm pretty sure. I think I got all the facts here. During one of the preseason games at halftime, the Titans mascot ran him over and injured him in a golf cart, messing around. He turned around and sued the Titans for like $20 million. I don't know if he won the lawsuit, but he sued him for like a total of $20 million. I think it was $15 million for something and then $5 million for discomfort, something crazy. And the Saints cut him due to injuries. He got ran over in like September or August, and the Saints cut him. And then he sued them like 2 months later, if I remember correctly, right before Christmas. He did, and then he went and tried to sue the Titans. I don't know if he won the lawsuit. But this man ended up playing football forever. I'm talking about Adrian McPherson. And Weidman's mom calls up McPherson and says, "Can you please steer my son in the right direction? I've got a troubled son. I don't want to see him get on the streets." I just think it's crazy, bro. I really do. Let me get back to this chat. I apologize for that tangent. That's nuts. Malachi Weidman, yeah, hell of an athlete though. Very explosive. Exactly what you're looking for when it comes to stuff like that. So, what's going on? Good evening, Jim Vaz. Good to see you, Jim Vaz. Fresno State, great. Let me go back up. Mel Tucker is throwing that money at Keon Coleman. That's funny. His quarterback was trash. Yep, everybody knows it. If Tyson wasn't hurt, I believe he would have stayed, but he's coming off a knee injury. Yeah, I don't know if he's got that dog in him. I know he's a good player, and I know he's overcoming injury, but I don't know if he even has that dog in him, to be real. I don't know if he even wants to be at practice. I've seen him many times. He just looks very docile, is the word I'll say. We probably would have seen Reed in the portal if Thorne wasn't his high school quarterback. So, yeah, there's 3 guys. There's 2 receivers at Michigan State that played with Thorne in high school. So it was a 3-headed monster in high school. And they won state, and they all went to school together. I think Reed transferred in after the fact. Right? Marlo, hell no, we wouldn't have stayed. All that competition coming in. Yeah, but Jordan Tyson's good. Let's hit the like button. Thank you for the likes. What positions does Colorado still need to improve? Who can they get from the portal? Yeah, I'm talking about it every night. I'll discuss each position group. I just heard there were lots of women here. Shout out to you, brother. Lawrence Collins. Would be surprised to see any SEC player transfer to another SEC school this cycle because they'll have to sit for the year if they're not a grad transfer. Yeah, and that's Lawrence talking about the SEC rule. If you transfer from one SEC school to another after February 4th, after February 1st, you have to sit out a year. So nobody's really doing it. So you're not seeing anybody transfer from one SEC school to another. It's just not happening. But when you start seeing offers from Xavier Henderson from SEC schools, it makes you wonder, right? At the same time, Henderson has an offer from Clemson, and that's very rare. Clemson doesn't even use the transfer portal. This year they gave Paul Tyson an offer just because they're going to let him be a graduate assistant and a backup quarterback. But Clemson, Dabo already said we don't use the portal. Then all of a sudden they're giving Xavier Henderson an offer. That one really stuck out to me. The other one is Florida State. Florida State seems like a realistic option for Xavier Henderson as well, being in the state of Florida. Not being the SEC. So I think those 2 are probably the most ideal locations for Henderson to land, Clemson and Florida State, just so you're aware. That's where I'm at on that. Yeah, I wanted Coleman at LSU, that FSU, my still deal. Yeah. Had a good quarterback and coaching staff. Yeah, that's correct. Weidman from Jackson State is the most athletic receiver in the portal. Seen him since middle school. He doesn't jump, he floats. He's an elite basketball athlete. Yeah, I've seen his basketball highlights, Don Howard, dunking between the legs and all that other stuff. You'd be surprised how athletic some of these other guys are that I've seen in the transfer portal. I go and watch tape on every single person when they enter the transfer portal. I go watch their tape. I don't think he's more explosive than Keon Coleman. I do not. Keon Coleman is extremely impressive on tape. And I can tell you, as far as athletes go, he's way up there. So, for me, I'm also impressed with certain guys who are like smaller and faster. But when you're talking about guys who can just elevate and jump, yeah, Weidman's there. He's in that discussion for sure. We got a true statement. I don't know what that true statement is or was. There's a reason why he doesn't have those jobs anymore. Hire and fire, LMAO. Yeah, Jim Vaz, I don't know who we're talking about. I apologize. By the time I get to this, I don't know what you guys are saying. If you use the term he, write out his name. I've been following you for a couple weeks. Rico really does know great content. Thank you very much, Deacon Cleo Brooks. I appreciate you, man. I try my best. We're going to be our own little cult. We're going to be our own little army of believers, and we're going to keep sharing the information. Do you think the Buffs should have thought about using Zico as a big possession wide receiver instead of tight end? No, not necessarily. No. I don't think he's that fast. I think you need somebody to take the top off of defense. You're looking for Randy Moss, bro. You're not looking for Kelvin Benjamin. You're looking for Randy Moss. Don't ever forget that. Sports Hub, I think his grades are good to go. They slipped because he was playing football and basketball. Yeah, everybody's worried about Weidman's grades. Look, you don't have to worry about his grades. If he can't get past admissions in the clearinghouse, if he can't get past admissions and transfer in, then he can't get there. You don't have to worry about his grades. It's not like he's going to get in the door and then fail out. You won't be able to get in the door if you don't have the grades. It's not a high school recruit that can show up and then fail out of school. It's a transfer. You have to meet the requirements to transfer. Transfers aren't failing out because they have to be in accordance with the admissions. This is why some of these transfers aren't going through. Shout out to Chance Nolan. He missed some classes and he couldn't transfer in the winter semester. He had to wait till he finished classes this spring. Shout out to Grayson McCall. Couldn't transfer to Auburn because they didn't offer the right classes. You got to be careful what you're doing there. What do I know about Purdue, Jordan Buchanan? I know a lot, but right now I'm talking about these receivers. I hate to break it to you. I'll get back with you, Kev. I owe you a whole breakdown. And can the new CU defensive end commit from Washington can't be a tight end that they're looking for? Don Howard. So Smalls is not. You play tight end in high school. I don't think he's coming over to be the tight end. I think he's coming over to be added depth to the defensive line and be a freak athlete rushing after the quarterback. That's all there is to it. I think everybody's out there. You guys are playing Madden with people's lives. You guys are playing Madden with people's lives. Smalls will be a linebacker tight end. There you go. Smalls is going to play both ways. This is what you guys are telling me, bro. It's crazy. Everybody thinks players are going both ways. He plays both already. Look at his tape. No, DJ Jiminy, he played both when he was in high school. If you look at his tape, he struggles to get to the quarterback. You want this man to do two positions. He's never had a sack in his life. What are you talking about? Jiminy, he doesn't play tight end also. You know, there's a linebacker on every team that played running back in high school. It doesn't mean they're going to play running back. These guys played running back and linebacker in high school. There's guys who played quarterback and wide receiver. There's wide receivers at Colorado right now probably played quarterback in high school. What are we doing? That's not how it works, man. That's not how it works. He's not going to play both ways. I honestly think Prime will go to the Big 12 just because he thinks he can dominate that division, only because he wanted to play ASU instead of TCU first game. All right, so Frosting, a head coach has no bearing and has no influence on conference realignment. Neither does the athletic director. That's a much higher decision to be made. There's the presidents, chancellors, there's other decision makers. So when you guys say stuff like this, it's just crazy. If you want to know, Rico knows, if you want to be informed on the topic, a head coach has no input whatsoever on a team moving conferences at all. None. Not Nick Saban, not Dabo, nobody. Coaches are so low on the totem pole of decision making. There are other people up there that make those decisions. Just so we're clear. Thank you for the Adrian McPherson reminder. Yep, I got it. He didn't at UW. He didn't even start. He's an edge rusher. He was fourth string at Washington, you guys. He was fourth string. Stop it. Yeah. This guy who's thinking he's playing both ways is absolutely absurd. Weidman messed up his grades, being a two-sport athlete. Yeah, maybe some girls too. He's not going to Colorado. Coach Prime doesn't want the headache. Weidman is a headache. Yeah, so Coach Prime doesn't want players that are not committed to academics. He needs you to be in good standing with academics. He cannot be seen as somebody who recruited, the hood or the ghetto and brought it to Boulder. And then all of a sudden they get labeled incorrectly. It is what it is. You got to tell the truth. He doesn't have that luxury right now. Not until they're successful. He doesn't have the luxury. He's got to get model citizens. He's got to get the Shane Kochs of the world, the Ivy League kids. He's got to get these guys who are well-spoken in front of a mic. Have you heard Dylan Edwards give an interview? Dylan Edwards is Mr. Interview. He's so mature. He speaks proper. He sounds like me. I'm like, yo, that kid is wise beyond his years. That's what you need. You need to find people like that. And it's an unfortunate and a realistic situation. You can't go out and get a dude who might be problematic for any reason. Keon Coleman would be nice at CU. Nice get. CU needs a physical presence. Yeah, that's not even realistic. He's not going on a trip to Colorado. It's not even up for debate. Keon Coleman is either going to Florida State or going back to Michigan State. Colorado's that's not even realistic. Travis Hunter can dunk between his legs too. Yeah, a lot of athletes can. I agree. Alonzo from ODU committed to Penn State. Yeah. I was hoping he'd go all the way to Colorado, follow two of his teammates. But that's a big body kid, a defensive tackle. If you guys don't know, ODU actually had a really good defensive line last year. When I watch tape, they dominate. 3 guys just dominating that defensive line. It's pretty impressive. Just admit you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Peace. Yeah. Shout out to you. I stand on any word I say, but you don't. What's cool? Okay, you guys are arguing. That's cool. Be interesting. What would be interesting research is transfer portal and system fit. I do a ton of research, and I'll tell you the most interesting research there is. It's FCS All-Americans moving up to the FBS level and how they perform. What kind of drop-off do they have? Are they still as productive? That drives me crazy. That's all I'm looking. Next season, I am studying all these FCS transfers, because a ton of them came into the FBS, and they didn't just come to Group of 5 teams. They went straight to Power 5 teams. It's amazing. Yeah, that's Frosty. That's not how it works. Coach Prime has no influence or bearing on TV contracts. TV contracts drive realignment. You know why? Listen, do you know why SMU and San Diego State are on the short list to be a part of the Pac-12? It's because the Pac-12 wants the TV market at SMU, because it's Dallas, because it gets them more views. It has nothing to do with the SMU football team and how good they are. Nobody cares what the coach has to say about that. This is above all of that. Please understand, there's levels to this shit. Okay? Presidents at universities are making these decisions, and even above them, regents and board members. What do you think of Shedeur Sanders? That's an absolutely absurd question. Go watch my live streams. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not here to answer that ridiculous question. That's not a real question. You're asking my opinion on Shedeur Sanders. That's absurd. All right. It just tells me you don't watch what I do, man. It's I don't know. All right. Back to the list. We're on Shane Hooks. I already told you guys. I'm going to get to the rest of your I'll go back to the chat after I do 5 more wide receivers. So, Shane Hooks, for me, and I mean this, not enough big offers to warrant coming to Colorado. He can come because everybody knows him, because he's a known commodity, because he's 6'5", 200 pounds. But when the only offers you're getting are Cincinnati, ODU, Western Michigan, you got an Ole Miss offer, big deal. UNLV, that's it. Those are his only 5 offers. It's telling me nobody else is interested. All right, next receiver, Caleb Burton, Ohio State. So Caleb leaving Ohio State didn't surprise me. He's already visited Auburn. Okay, he's a Texas kid, but I thought he was going to go to Notre Dame. I thought the kid was going to go to Notre Dame. And when I look at Caleb Burton being a small little receiver, I thought he was going to Notre Dame because they just had, what's his name? Lorenzo Styles just left Notre Dame, committed to Ohio State. I was like, man, it'll be an easy 1-for-1 swap. They need receivers. I can't believe the receiving core at Notre Dame is falling apart. And you got Sam Hartman just came into town. It's nuts, So there's that there. Next guy, Gary Bryant Jr. They have him 100% to Oregon. I've been waiting for him to commit to Oregon for a long time now. If you guys don't know who Gary Bryant Jr. is, playing at USC, he played at Centennial High School. And when Centennial High School finished the national rankings 10th in the national rankings, by the way, the number 1 public school in California. When they finished 10th in the national rankings, ahead of state champs from Georgia, ahead of state champs from Florida, Gary Bryant Jr. was one of the stars. So was Corey Foreman. All these guys have flopped. They just had another guy transfer out. I forgot his name. He transferred to Fresno State. Nomura, linebacker. I think he had a bone pop out, and he still kept playing. All these guys flopped at USC. There's no other way to put it. So Gary Bryant Jr., good wide receiver. He's going over there. Look, man, they got these guys in order. This is the craziest thing. They got these guys in order, and the next receiver they have is Marquez Dortch. They got him in rank order. How in the hell is Marquez Dortch this high on the list? This is an SEC bias to the fullest. This kid, he's leaving Mississippi State. By the way, he's not in the portal. He's already committed to Cal. 24/7 Sports. Fix your website. And I mean it. Fix your website. All right? Marquez Dortch is already at Cal. But let me talk about him for a second. He had 1 reception last year. For 1 yard, I think. I swear to you. When I look at that and I say, well, at least he got on the field. At least he played. There's a lot of receivers out there that didn't even get to play. But when you look in a little further, Michigan State they had 14 wide receivers complete passes or have receptions. 14 wide receivers caught a pass. 14. That means he was 14th on the depth chart because he was the lowest one. This is the 14th best wide receiver at Mississippi State, and you got him ranked this high? Look, man, Dominic Blaylock's down here, bro. Dominic Blaylock's down here. Jamal Edrin's right here. You guys are going to hear Jamal Edrin's name next year, and you're going to go like, where did I hear that name? Rico knows. Marquez Dortch is not him, and I can't believe he's that high. It's garbage. Okay, so now we go to Jamal Edrin. So now Jamal Edrin, I swear to you, I wanted this man to go to Colorado. He committed to Purdue. Shout out to Ryan Walters for getting a playmaker. Jamal Edrin coming out of FAU. He's from Fort Lauderdale, and he ain't playing. He went to Fort Lauderdale High School. 6'3.5", 210 pounds. Go watch the tape on Jamal Edrin. And you might not find a highlight tape on him. You might have to go do a Google search or a YouTube search for FAU versus whoever, and then go find his touchdowns. Go find his receptions. This man, Jamal Edrin, is the truth, and he knows it. And he knows it. He's out there. He just looks the part. You remember we talked about it. You want a real X receiver? You want a real number one? It's Jamal Edrin. So when he jumped in the transfer portal, nobody knew who he was. They're like, FAU, second or third leading receiver at FAU. This guy ain't nothing special. I went and watched the tape. I get on TikTok and I go, hey guys, you see this guy Jamal Edrin? And there's a video out there. I can show it to you. I said, this guy Jamal Edrin is going to get a Power 5 offer. He's coming out of FAU. He's going to get a Power 5 offer. And all the guys in the comments, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know, da-da-da. He's nobody. Nobody wants to see this guy. I said, dude, he's going to go to a Power 5 school. Not SMU. Not Liberty. He's going to a Power 5, and he goes to Purdue. So shout out to him. He's not available. Get him off the list. Now, the inverse. You want to talk about somebody overrated? Elijah Brown here. Don't get him confused. Elijah Brown. Wait, is this my fifth guy? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we're at 5. Let's go back to chat. Sorry, guys. We'll get back to Elijah Brown here in a second. Let's go right here. See, you don't need him. I'm assuming you're talking about Shane Hooks. My oldest son is in Colorado right now working. All right, Cindy. Shout out to you. Shane Hooks is visiting Utah right now. Yep, we're aware of it, Rudy. Thanks. I've been told about 5 times this live. Malachi Wideman is better than him. This is true, but we got to ask ourselves, why are we comparing the two of them? Francisco, we're not comparing Malachi Wideman to Shane Hooks. We're comparing Malachi Wideman to every single receiver in the transfer portal. Remember, you're up against everybody else. You're not just up against your friend down the street, some guy on your team last year. You're up against every available wide receiver that I'm talking about tonight. Don't forget that. It seems like Shane Hooks don't want to come to Colorado, but he's visiting Utah right now. What if I told you he doesn't even have an offer from Colorado? What if I told you Shane Hooks doesn't have an offer from Colorado? How would you feel about that? Because I went and looked it up. I tried to find it, and I don't see an offer anywhere. I could ask the coaching staff. I'm just letting you guys know. Malachi Wideman is way better than Hooks. Yeah, it's not up for debate. We're not comparing the two. I wanted Shane to go to Colorado, but not now. Don't think Wideman will go to CU. His grades were a big struggle at JSU. Yep. Gary is a monster. He'll do very well at Oregon if he goes. I agree, but last year was horrible for Malachi. I agree. I was having character issues and grades slipped. Yep. Malachi Wideman, FSU offered 2 dual sports. Yep. But his mental and grades were off last year. You know, coming out of high school, Florida State, he was committed to them back in 2019, I think. So it happens. Players change their minds. It is what it is. Rico, I agree. The wide receiver from FAU is nasty. Nasty. That must be a term of endearment from Jordan Holland. Listen, guys, go watch the tape on Jamal Edrin. You heard it here first. Jamal Edrin, you're going to hear his name a lot. You know, Purdue, new head coach, got Hudson Card. Everybody was saying, why don't they get Ajay Hall from Texas? They're really good teammates. Ajay Hall and Hudson Card, they probably threw a lot at practice. And I'm going, bro, they just got Jamal Edrin. You guys need to wake the hell up. Learn all these players, because this is the truth right here. Do you trust Shedeur on the run with this offense? Because he will have to run. Frosting, I don't know where you're getting your information, but Colin Schlee didn't have to run. There are plays that make them run. Have you studied Kent State's offense, Frosting? A lot of your comments come across as extremely impulsive and slightly uninformed. Go study the Kent State offense and then get back to me on how much Shedeur has to run. Just let me know. Break it down for me. Shane Hooks is overrated. He's just average, funny. How fast he decommitted from Ole Miss. Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. Okay, I believe it. What's up? I'm Bacon. Shout out to you, Colin. Coach Prime had to stay on Shane Hooks. Attitude issues. I don't know. You might be right unless he was putting Colorado in his top 5 for clout. I don't know what that's about. Rico, who do you think is the best player on UConn? I owe you an answer. I can't. Oh, Rosa. The running back, Rosa? Give me Rosa. What is your thoughts on this transfer running back from Cal, Damien? Which Damien? Are you talking about? Give me a second. Give me a second. I owe you an answer. I won't just blow you off. Are you talking about the kid who left, though? You're talking about the kid who left, right? Damian Moore? Going to Fresno State? Yeah. He's a California kid. Bishop Amat. He didn't do much at Cal, and he lost his spot to freshmen. And for me, I'm not saying the kid doesn't have a future. I just don't think he's special. I thought he was the third best running back on Cal last year. Third or fourth, really, because you got DeCarlos Brooks transferred to Arizona State, and then you have Damien. I'm just not impressed with him. I like Christian Hayes. Hold up. I like Christian Hayes. That's how I feel about Damien, though. I thought Caleb Ducking, Mississippi State, was going to Colorado, but his Twitter was saying he needed an agent. I don't know what any of that's about. Thoughts on Landon King, wide receiver from Auburn. No additional thoughts. Kent State's quarterback didn't do much running at all. Shout out to you, Real Big Pimp. Nah, what about Jackson Mitchell? Okay. You said he might not got an offer from Colorado, and I said put Colorado in his top 5, and he must be doing it for clout. Oh, yeah, sure. Players can put 5 all they want. I mean, it's a wish list. They can do what they want to do. That's their business. I'm not with it. Rico, I wanted to hear your take on the 2 Division II wide receivers. If you think they'll play at Power 5 level. One is from California, PA. Okay. By the way, California, PA, that's I did a video on them, and the others from Grand Valley State. My apologies if you already talked to them. No, I haven't talked about him. The Grand Valley State wide receiver, is it Holland? People ask me about him every single day. He looks the part. I don't talk about players until they sign somewhere. So I don't talk about players when they enter the transfer portal. I study them, and then I put them in a video if they sign to an FBS level school. So the Pioneer Valley League, the Pioneer Football League, right? California, the wide receiver from Pioneer. I went to go find tape on him. I didn't find much. The PFL, Pioneer Football League, yeah. And then Grand Valley State, I already know Ja'Day Walker. I've already looked him up as much as I can. Waiting for him to sign somewhere. If he signs, I'll make the video. And that's how I feel about it. Moore's running third string at Fresno State right now. He was injured most of the spring camp, yeah. What you think about the SEC defense? Prime is billed for Pac-12. I don't know what you're making reference to. I'm looking at players from the ACC. I'm looking at players that he's recruiting. Starting linebacker is from Clemson. Defensive lineman is from Fresno State. Like the fact that people go, oh, he's building an SEC defense. Danny, you're reading propaganda. It's not the truth. It's just not there. Okay, it's not what he's doing. Kent State quarterback was the second leading rusher. He probably was Frosting. Probably was. That's irrelevant. It's irrelevant when your leading rusher is 1,300 yards rushing. It's not like Drake May who led the team in rushing. No one's concerned that North Carolina doesn't have a running back. You're not concerned Drake May is going to hold up. Think about it. All right, back to the list. I'll get back to the chat after I get back to the list. Where are we at here? We're on Elijah Brown. Elijah Brown, you guys. This gentleman, Alabama tight end, Elijah Brown. He's actually from Ohio. They went ahead and made him a 3-star, as you can see, because that's his transfer rating. Yeah, after I had to hear this 4-star guy forever. Look, he got to school, he was super skinny. He needed to eat, needed to lift weights, got it. But if you ever want to know how bad the tight ends are at Alabama, just remind yourself that C.J. Dippre is showing up to Alabama and is going to be a starter. You understand that? He's going to be a starter. And C.J. Dippre couldn't start at Maryland. What? He couldn't start at Maryland. C.J. Dippre was the backup tight end to Corey Dyches. Corey Dyches. Yeah, D-Y-C-H-E-S. Corey Dyches. True sophomore. Great tight end. 6'3", 220. C.J. Dippre ain't a thing to that man. And C.J. Dippre's leaving Maryland. The websites will tell you he's the greatest tight end in the transfer portal. He's a backup at Maryland. But because he's going to Alabama, he must be amazing. And he's not. He's second string. But you know what? He's not amazing, but he's a hell of a lot better than Elijah Brown. That's how bad Elijah Brown is. So everybody, when you see that kid in the transfer portal and you go, there's a tight end from Alabama available, just know he's not good enough to be the second string tight end at Maryland. Just remember that. Remind yourself of it, okay? Just keeping it real. Dominic Blaylock. Been in the portal for a while. Was at Georgia for 5 years. He's a fan favorite. He's a good receiver. He's all right. Lost his job to a guy named Ladd. Ladd McConkey, bruh. Look, Dominic Blaylock in the transfer portal, he put out something on Twitter. It was really interesting. He said, I woke up from a dream and I saw a sea of orange, a fantasy of orange, or a fantasy. It was a fantasy is what he said. He didn't even mention orange. He said fantasy. And Fanta, he was making reference to Fanta, the drink, the orange drink of Fanta. And it was a C. He had a dream it was a fantasy. But what he was trying to imply is he's going to transfer to a school with orange. And there's only two, Tennessee or Clemson. And now, I already told you, Clemson doesn't use the transfer portal. But apparently Clemson's looking for wide receivers because they went ahead and offered one, right? Clemson offered Henderson. What if they secretly offered Blaylock and we don't know about it? But I was thinking Blaylock's going to Tennessee. They need a lot of receivers at Tennessee because they run the air raid. Blaylock's going to one of those orange schools. I'm letting you know now. Don't care how long he's been there. Jaden Alexis from Texas. He's not available. 24/7. Update your website. This man committed to South Florida. Get him out of here. All right. Next guy. Grant Page. Check out Grant Page, bro. That guy is from Colorado. You know how they're all like, hey, Prime lost all these players. Oh, Coach Prime lost all these players at Colorado. You see Grant Page here, bro? This wide receiver? He's got one offer since he left the team. Since he hit the portal, he's got an offer. Lindenwood University. Oh, no, he's got another one. Towson and Lindenwood. Is this a Power 5 player? He don't have any FBS offers. They're FCS level offers. I ain't mad at him. Continue your career. Get your education. Go ball out. But Coach Prime didn't lose an FBS level player. All right, Grant Page, wide receiver. His offers are Towson and Lindenwood. I'm just saying. Chase Sewell, that's a hurt. This one hurts. So Chase Sewell is 6'4", 200 pounds. 6'4", 200 pounds. Leaving Colorado. That's a good player. I like Chase Sewell. He's got the size that we're looking for. And his offers are very interesting. His offers, BYU, that's a Big 12 team. Texas State, one of my favorites in the transfer portal. UConn has offered him. I don't think he's going all the way up to UConn. UIW has offered him, Incarnate Word, FCS. And Liberty. And Liberty has Jamie Chadwell just got there as a new coach from Coastal Carolina. So he's got a slew of teams interested in him. He can pick one. You go to BYU, get with Keaton Slovis, you get with whoever you want. The cool thing about Chase Sewell is he does have 4 years of eligibility left. So wherever he goes, he's going to be putting in work, and he'll be there a while. 6'4", 200 pounds. I think he's getting the offers on his size alone. I don't know how good he is. I really don't know how good he is. I just know his offers. Another guy right here, Ty Robinson. Ty Robinson, wide receiver from Colorado. Obviously, he left. Coach Prime, why are you losing all these players? Ty Robinson's only offer so far since he hit the portal is Nevada. Nevada. Shout out to Nevada. I like what Nevada's doing. Nevada's doing great. They just hired a new coach. They hired the linebackers coach from Oregon. If you look at Nevada's transfer portal class, it is Oregon heavy because they got a hell of a hookup. They got a pipeline. So he might be going into Nevada. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can keep going before I get back to the chat. Let's do Craig Burt. Craig Burt, wide receiver, Western Kentucky. He never really amounted to much. If you ask me when I looked him on tape, he was a JUCO product. Okay, he's already signed with a team. 24/7 Sports. Fix your website. Craig Burt is actually at Missouri State right now. He coming out of Hutchinson Community College. His only offers were UMass, New Mexico State, and maybe UConn. And then he took Western Kentucky. He didn't do much at Western Kentucky. How, as a receiver, how do you not do much at Western Kentucky? I just need to know. I'm asking for a friend, bro. So Craig Burt is not him. Now, he's big. He's 6'4", 210. Keeps getting offers because of his size. But he's finally at Missouri State, so shout out to him. All right, let's get back to the chat, see what you guys had to say, and we'll go from there. My bad. I thought, okay. Talk about the Minnesota running back the Lions picked up, please, Rico. All right, Yunky Chunky. You're talking about Mo Ibrahim. He was at Minnesota for a couple years. He got injured 2 years ago. He missed the whole season. And then last year he played pretty good. He's got a lot of wear and tear on his tires. He was getting 25, 30 carries a game some weeks. Not breakaway speed. I think he's a very respectable back. I think he's good to go. The problem is he did sign a $100,000 guaranteed undrafted free agent contract. So he's made $100,000. He was undrafted, but he got $100,000 to sign with the Lions. So shout out to him. It's going to be tough, though. That team is deep. I don't know if they take 4 running backs. He'll probably be on the practice squad if he makes it. Practice squad money's good, though. Practice squad money's good. Practice squad money's up to $400,000 nowadays. $200,000. So divided by 18, it's not bad. It's a pretty decent living, if you ask me. I make a living on less, and I make a damn good living. Just saying. Rico, what are your thoughts on quarterback Mikey Keene? Jim Vaz, my thoughts on Mikey Keene are he is an alpha male. Mikey Keene, coming out of high school, he's from Arizona. He's a state champ in Arizona. He goes to UCF, gets there, and he's going to back up Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel goes down with an injury. He's done for the season. Mikey Keene finds himself starting the next 10 games, and he wins 7 out of the next 10 games. As a true freshman, balls, just great. They don't care. UCF, get a new coach, right? You keep moving, and all of a sudden you bring in John Rice Plumlee from Ole Miss. You bring in competition. Mikey Keene loses his starting position. He's still a beast of a kid. He's still very young. He transfers into a loaded quarterback room, trying to take over for Jake Haener at Fresno State, and he beats out everybody. He's slated to be the starter. So I really like what Mikey Keene's doing. I like the fact that he beat out Woods, and Woods is a great quarterback, the backup. I think he's a prolific quarterback as well. But, yeah, Mikey Keene's a gamer, man. He's a winner. Justin Flo, have a good season. I believe you're asking, Frostin, will Justin Flo have a good season? I want you guys to remember, you know a lot of these names because the recruiting websites told you to know these names. Like 5-star guys who didn't pan out. I get asked about them every single day. And there's nothing to talk about. Justin Flo didn't play great at Oregon. He lost his linebackers coach. He's obviously the new head coach at Nevada. And instead of going to Nevada to follow him, I don't blame him, he goes to Arizona. Now, Arizona has a great team right now of young nucleus players. Arizona's got a lot of young studs. I like what Arizona's doing, recruiting, and the way they're trying to develop. They had a down year. Things didn't go as planned. The Pac-12 is loaded. It's hard to be relevant. I say Arizona's probably the 8th or 9th best team in the Pac-12. That's not good, but they're still good players. And Justin Flo is a highly talented, highly recruited player. But when you look at this list of wide receivers over here, for whatever reason they have it out of order, you're going to see a bunch of 4-star wide receivers coming up. I'm telling you right now, they ain't good. They ain't good. A lot of 4-star guys don't pan out. A lot of 4- and 5-star guys do not pan out. Those stars mean nothing once you get on campus. Those stars will get you an offer. When you get on campus, those stars ain't helping you, bro. Not helping you. All right. ODU, 1 defensive lineman drafted. Chaz Wallace to Colorado, another D lineman in the portal. Yep. There's two to Colorado. You got one. You're forgetting D. Devon D. He committed before Chaz. DB in the portal, 1 receiver drafted. So, for the record, Francisco Luciano, ODU had the most players drafted from a group of 5 team. That's a fact. And they had a bad season, but they had the most players drafted from a group of 5 teams. Shout out to them. Florida, Texas, both, OSU, Syracuse, Bowling, UTEP, UTSA, Orange. Yeah, they're all orange, but he was talking about Clemson or that's hilarious, Steve. He was talking about Clemson or Tennessee. There's no way he's talking about UTEP, UTSA. Nah. If I'm a receiver, I'm going to UTSA. I'm letting you guys know now. They just lost their number 1 receiver. If I'm in the transfer portal and I'm a wide receiver and I want to go where they're throwing the rock, I think who said it? One of these wide receivers said, wherever they're throwing it, I'm going. If they're throwing, I'm going. That's what he said. Who was that? That was the Ohio State kid. I forgot his name. But he said, if they're throwing, I'm going. And I was like, all right. Hope you're going to Western Kentucky. You ain't going to Louisville. Louisville has amazing receivers. Incarnate. What's the difference, bruh? What's the difference? Caleb Ducky, Mississippi State. What about him, Francis? That's not a complete question there. Lindenwood has an amazing, cool stadium, by the way. All right, cool. Best offensive coordinator in the Pac-12. You're asking, Frosting? Is that a question or you're just stating it? I'd say the best offensive coordinator in the Pac-12 is Lincoln Riley. He's a head coach, but he is the best offensive coordinator in the Pac-12, hands down. And Chip Kelly's a close second. Incarnate word. I'm saying the same thing. New offensive line coach from Cal. Okay, what's your thoughts on running? And they're getting a ton of people on. What's your thoughts on running back Jackson Mahomes? Okay. Troll up in the house. Not worried about it. Fans need to lower their expectations of Shedeur. Chances are Shedeur will need a full year to master his offense and win games. No, that's not necessarily true. 8-ball. Shedeur Sanders completes 70% of his passes. He's thrown for 3,000 yards in back-to-back seasons. He threw 40 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. I think Shedeur Sanders knows how to throw the football. I think he knows how to place it in different places. I think he's very accurate. You guys just need to understand it takes the entire team to win a game. Shedeur Sanders isn't going to be the problem. He's not going to have growing pains or struggle. Shedeur Sanders is a premier quarterback in this country. He really is. How's their offensive line looking? Colorado's offensive line looks pretty damn good to me. I know the players. They got 2 starters with continuity who know the entire offense on the right side. And they got 2 studs, and they got BB coming in. So 2 guys who were all conference at the FCS level on the left side. Looking pretty good to me. My thoughts on Trey Spivey, wide receiver. I don't think he's on my list. I don't think he's on my list. I don't have him transferring anywhere. I'm talking about transfers. UTSA definitely. Michigan wide receiver said it. What do you think about Vito Tisdale? Just curious, have you seen his film? Yeah, I've seen the film of every player in the transfer portal. So when they enter the transfer portal, I go watch film on them, one at a time. As soon as I see a name on the list, I go watch everything I can on each player. So, yeah, seen a lot on Vito Tisdale. I actually think I'm very surprised that he got an offer from Colorado because we want high-character guys, and I don't know. I just don't see it in that regard. I've looked at it. But as far as on the field goes, it's good talent, competitive guy. I'll leave it at that. Transfer from Kentucky to Colorado. Safety, he's going to compete. Safety's really deep. What about USC's new coordinator? Doesn't matter. Lincoln Riley, doesn't matter. Shedeur is good. He has mental lapse at times, but is a really good quarterback on offense. Shedeur will be a top 10 draft pick in 2025. Daddy Bryant, making predictions like that indicates that you know what the teams are that are drafting. Teams that are drafting may not need quarterbacks, so I don't make predictions like that. Shedeur needs not to run the ball. Don't you agree? I don't agree with you, Tree. I think if you're on the football field and the ball's in your hands, you do what you need to do. That's all there is to it. Spivey, incoming freshman, K-State. Yeah, I know, Big LT. What I'm saying is, I know who Spivey is. He's not in the transfer portal, so I'm not talking about. I don't talk about recruits who haven't played football. Let me just give you guys an understanding of who I am. I talk about the transfer portal. I talk about players who have been to practice, committed to schools, enrolled, and it didn't work out. I talk about players who have production and stats, players who've been at teams for a long time. You notice I don't spend any time talking about incoming freshmen who've never played the game of football at the collegiate level. I don't care who it is. I don't care how many stars they got. None of that impresses me. I'm not worried about it because they may just transfer before they ever play. Like you're telling me Spivey's an incoming freshman at K-State. Well, he can get at K-State and redshirt this year and hit the transfer portal. And now you wasted time out of your day in your life to read about this kid, to study about this kid, and it's just a waste of time. If you stayed away from rumors, stayed away from recruiting websites, and reading recruiting drama, you'd have so much more time to learn about the actual players who play. Just think about it. Is the portal closed? So the portal is closed, Tree, but not the way you're thinking. The portal is closed so players can't enter the portal, and it's only for underclassmen. Graduate transfers can enter the portal whenever the hell they want, and you can still sign players out of the portal. The only thing, when they say the portal is closed, all that means is none of the underclassmen can leave your school now. None of the underclassmen can jump in the portal and leave. You got who you got, underclassmen-wise. But graduate transfers can still depart. If you studied the transfer portal for the last 2 years, players will be getting signed to teams for the next 2 months in preparation for the following season. So that's how that goes. What about Wayman Tisdale, RIP? Damn. Man, he probably had bad knees. Wayman Tisdale, basketball great. Was he a King? I think I had a basketball card of him when he was with the Kings. Where did he play? Oklahoma, Arkansas? Where did Tisdale play? I know one of you Texas, Midwest people know. Shout out to him. I don't mean not to know. I should know. He's all right. A lot of wide receivers are leaving Texas State, getting the underwhelming talent out. This is correct. I know he was great. Don't do it. I'm just trying to get a rise out of you guys. Oklahoma, yeah. What did I say? Did I say Oklahoma, Arkansas? I just getting a rise out of you guys. Okay, so check it out. They're getting the underwhelming talent out. Yeah, you can see certain rosters, Kansas included, Texas State included. People are leaving those teams because the talent is being upgraded. It's just the way it is at certain schools. So certain people are getting pushed out, and they're gone. Pardon me for a second here. Let me get back to this list of wide receivers available because we're about to see some good ones. So Jalen Gill here, Boston College. So what you guys don't know or may or not know, non-renewed scholarships for sure. Somebody says, what is going on at Ole Miss? Nothing. What's going on at Ole Miss? They're not renewing kids' scholarships because they're recruiting the shit out of some other players. That's what they do. Shout out to Lane Kiffin. All right, so Jalen Gill, Started his college career at Ohio State. Ohio State. Jalen Gill's at Ohio State. Doesn't work out. He goes over to Boston College. Gets to Boston College and finds out, holy smokes, there's a guy named Zay Flowers here. He's probably going to get the rock a little bit more than me. But Jalen Gill has actually played. He's gotten some stats. But you see this 4-star rating coming out of high school? It's not as a wide receiver. It was an all-purpose back. He was an all-purpose back. So he's actually one of the better players in the portal. He is small, though. He's 5'11", 185. He's not one of those guys we're looking for. But he's a good player. So I'm kind of curious to see where Jalen Gill goes. I think he should go to UConn. They need wide receivers. He's nearby. I think he should just go from Boston College to UConn. That'd be a great pickup for the Huskies. You got Jordan Johnson here. Jordan Johnson, anytime you see one of these profile pics and it's got that little blue in it, see this little blue right here? That means they're from Notre Dame. 4 stars, overrated. Underachieving, overrated Jordan Johnson. 4 stars because he went to Notre Dame. This guy ain't it, bro. You know some of these places had him at 5 stars? I looked around. This guy was 5 stars. Are you kidding me, bro? This guy's been terrible. And he went to UCF and did nothing. Did nothing at UCF. And you know what's crazy is if you look down there, Joey Gatewood's underneath him. And we'll get to Joey Gatewood here in a second. But when I'm telling you guys, some of these guys are just rated high because of the school they're going to. They got to be. There's no other way around it. Jordan Johnson's not any good. Is he big? Yeah, I think he's tall. Who cares? Ajay Hall, I've talked about him at length. Character issues. Nobody wants him. Nobody's going to sign him. He's got 3 years of eligibility left. I don't know where he goes. Went to Bama. He's from Tampa. He's from 4 different high schools. He transferred every year. I did a whole video on him, a spotlight video on him on TikTok, and I talked about how he didn't listen to coaches. He obviously got arrested for criminal mischief. He got suspended while at Alabama. He said some negative things about Alabama fans when he left. Ajay Hall is just not the guy for you. You just don't want him. He's not worth it. Nobody wants this guy, and I don't blame him. Joey Gatewood. Joey Gatewood, coming out of high school, this guy was either 4 or 5 stars, depending on where you look. He was the number 2 athlete in the country, and he was an athlete because he was a wide receiver / quarterback. So he signs with Auburn coming out of high school. He's going to be the next Cam Newton. And this is back 2018, I think. It was like him and Trevor Lawrence, him and Justin Fields. They were the truth. And Joey Gatewood does nothing at Auburn. Transfers to Kentucky. Does nothing at Kentucky. They finally move him to wide receiver. He's a wide receiver. Okay. I don't know how many stars he is as a wide receiver, but it's got to be low. He's 6'3", but he's not a very good wide receiver. Transfers out of Kentucky, goes to UCF, cannot see the field at UCF. 3 stars. I'm telling you, he's something else. They have not re-ranked him. He's been in the portal since the winter, and they still have him 4 stars from high school, but that 4 stars is from his quarterback ranking or his athlete ranking. But these are 2 UCF guys jumped in the portal. Not any good. Just letting you know. There's Caleb Brown. I think Caleb Brown's the kid who said, Caleb Brown's actually visiting Iowa, which is kind of cool. He's visiting Iowa. He caught 1 pass last year, redshirt freshman. He's got 4 years of eligibility left. I like Caleb Brown. He's just a small guy, 5'10", 180, 195. I'll get back to the chat here in a bit. How many guys have I gone through? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, there we go. Michael Pittman, as you guys know, everybody's saying he's going to go to Utah. We'll see what happens. I'll get back to AJ Henning here. Let me get back to the chat for you guys. Chat, what's going on at Ole Miss? I already told you. Just players jumping in the portal. They're getting rid of guys. What are your thoughts on the Colorado back quarterback? Can they win? I don't understand what you're saying. Frosting, are you asking can the backup quarterback win a position battle with Shedeur Sanders? That is absolutely absurd. Shedeur Sanders threw for 3,000 yards in back-to-back seasons, 40 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. There's no quarterback controversy there. That's absurd. It's highly uninformed. You got it. Booker T. Washington and Tulsa. Loved him. Oh, all right. There you go. Gill should have gone to Bama They love former Ohio State wide receivers. Shout out to you, Zach. You sure know a lot about football, Rico. Thank you very much, Cindy. I try. If you're going to call yourself Rico Knows and you're going to try to be some expert at something and have a niche in this world and be worth talking and listening to by the masses, I would hope that I know more than others. I got to be worth it. I got to try. So I work really hard at it. Trust me, I did not wake up, roll out of bed, and know all this. Now, don't get me wrong. My ability to retain is immense. That's the problem, is I can retain things more than others. But I put in some work. I do read a lot, and I do study. But now, if I try to learn all these receivers like a cram test, if I try to learn all these guys' names and stats and abilities and things in the last 2 hours, I would probably not know much. But the fact that I've studied them and known them for their entire careers makes it really easy to sit here and talk about them. Because I've known that, like this kid, Joey Gatewood, I've known him for 5 years. I've known everything about him for 5 years. It's not hard. I'm not trying to just learn them right now. I've got history with these guys. And that's everybody. That's how I study it. So it's not a last-second cram of information. I genuinely know every player. I worked at it. I've worked at it. I've looked at every depth chart in the world. I'll spend hours. And the way I do it, I break it down by conference. And then I just go to every single team within a particular conference on any given day. So on a given day, I will look at only offensive linemen on a particular team. And then I will go look at offensive linemen from another team in that conference. And I'll just keep rotating like this. And once I get through all the offensive linemen, I'll go to defensive linemen. And once I get through all the conferences, I'll go back. Yes, and if you see in the chat here, Kim says you study a lot. Kim is actually a significant other of mine. Former significant other of mine, current significant, whatever she is. So Kim has been here at the house and has watched me put in work, has watched me study from sunup to sundown every single day. It's just what I do. So, and I'll turn around and be like, hey, you ready to eat? And then I'll get back to my computer and study. It's a work ethic. It's a labor of love. It's a passion. And we're going to keep doing it. And the last thing I want to tell you guys is I don't want to compartmentalize any of this information. I don't want to keep it from anybody. I want everybody to know. And that's why I share it and put it on videos. I've been making, what have I made? I've made so many videos on TikTok. And I'm out there just trying to teach the masses about any topic, any player, any subject. And it's not hard to come up with content. It's not hard for me to make a video. I just have to do it because there's so much to talk about. And I never touch on everything. I really don't. I'll end this live and I'll be like, man, I should have said something. I think last night I went for 3 hours. And at midnight I was like, man, I should have told them this. I should have told them more about this. True story. So hopefully we go there. 3-time first team All-American, only played 3 years. I will stop now. Steve, who the heck? Oh, you're talking about Wayman Tisdale. I'm like, who is Steve talking about? Woo! Wayman Tisdale, bruh. This man is not letting it go. Oh, he's no Christian Laettner, dude. He's no Christian Laettner. Means nobody watches their tape, just sees a name committed to a school, for sure. I like Pittman a lot. Okay. I haven't been on here the whole time, but what's up with Shane Hooks? All right, TZ Terrell. If anybody showed up late, here's what I want you guys to do. Start the stream over. Then set your speed, your playback speed, to 1.25. And you'll be able to watch the whole stream and you'll catch back up with us. You can go back and watch it all. I don't want to rehash it. Just go back, start it over, and watch it all at 1.25 speed. 1.5 speed, I don't care. And you'll eventually hear what I have to say about Shane Hooks. Thank you for being here, though. I appreciate you, TZ. Can the backups win if Sanders goes down? You know, Frosting, there isn't a team in America where the backup quarterback is nearly as capable as the starter. Quick, name Drake May's backup. Go. So if Drake May goes down, North Carolina season's over. All right, who's Jordan Travis's backup? Florida State season's over. Who's Frank Harris's backup? How about Michael Penix Jr.? You see what I'm getting at here? Every team out there, Caleb Williams, I don't care who it is. Every team out there, their season is over if they lose their starter. There are very few teams with the luxury of having a quality backup quarterback. I don't think you should stress it. I don't think you should worry about it. It's not a priority for any team in the country. You're trying to find your quarterback. You do not want to have two quality quarterbacks. You really don't. You don't want a quarterback controversy. If you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. I say it all the time. If you got 2 quarterbacks and you need to rotate between the 2 of them because one of them hasn't distinguished themselves from the rest, you don't have a good team. Trust me, if Ole Miss is going through the season with a quarterback controversy from month to month or week to week, game to game, they're not going to have a good season because the team needs a leader. They need to follow someone. You'd much rather just have a singular starter. So, no, I'm not stressing their backups at all. They're not there to win the game. Backups, that's not what they're for. And at the collegiate level, it doesn't work that way. Now, in the pros, you want a backup that can hold you over. In the pros, you have years upon years to develop your backup. But in college football, your backup is always going to be somebody younger than the starter, 90% of the time. Your backup is always going to be somebody who's never played. It's not going to be a journeyman. It's not going to be somebody who has starting experience. It's not the NFL. You don't get the luxury of having experienced backups. That's not a thing at the quarterback position in college football. It really is not. And you need to be aware of it. It's a rarity. It's a rarity to have an experienced backup quarterback. If you have a backup quarterback that's good, it's going to be a young stud of a kid, a young prospect. And that's no different from what Colorado has. They just have young prospects backing up their marquee franchise quarterback. No different from 80% of the teams in this country. Promise. I study rosters like crazy. I study a lot. Yeah. Faison Willis. Nothing to say. You guys write questions like that, and I'm like, man, we're here to talk about some other stuff. He at Utah on a visit today, probably going to sign there. Yeah. Bet that. I got you. Shout out to you. Yep. Shout out to the man I've been watching for a couple weeks, former Division I player and current athletic trainer in the South. If you need some info or just want to pick brains, bounce, let me know. Shout out to you, RJ Moore, Malone. I appreciate you, man. A lot of you guys who are at these college programs are extremely positive. Game recognized game. A lot of you guys watch what I'm doing, and you guys really know what's going on. And you guys look at me and go, man, that guy knows what he's doing. I appreciate it. All right, so good night, Steve. So, Zach, you say Criswell. You think Criswell's the backup to Drake May. He just transferred to Arkansas. He's not even at North Carolina. That's my point. Miller Moss, backup quarterback. You thinking Miller Moss is a good backup quarterback? He's solid, but not on Caleb's level. Not even close. No. If you lose your Heisman Trophy quarterback, you lost your season. Look what happened against Utah. Second half, couldn't score anymore. You go look at that Tulane game. They lose at the last second to Tulane. It's a miracle comeback by Tulane. Shout out to them. Go look at Caleb's rushing yards. He was injured. He couldn't run. He had 0 rushing yards. It's not even like Caleb. Ohio State had 3 a couple years ago. No, what they had was a starting quarterback and young players who had never played. You know their names. Young players that have never played. Look at Vandergriff. Look at Gunnar Stockton and Vandergriff. These are not starting caliber quarterbacks. They never played. So if Carson Beck goes down, who's coming in? A young, unproven quarterback. You don't know the name. Like, you don't know who's played. You know their names because they're people you know. That's it. You know their names. True, but those games are lost because of their defense. Lamont Simmons, no. I do not believe that, Lamont Simmons. I got a different perspective for you. I think USC lost those games because their offense scores too fast. I think USC's offense scores so fast, it puts their defense back on the field. And by the second half, their defense has no depth, they're exhausted, and they can't stop anybody because they've been on the field the whole game. Because they have a quick strike offense that'll score right away, and it puts the defense back on the field. They can't tackle anyone. That's what I think happened at USC. I think Lincoln Riley's teams average an insane amount of points, 40 plus, and it constantly puts the defense back on the field. And by the second half, they're exhausted, and they can't stop anyone. I think that's what happens. The defense was trash. Well, the offense stopped scoring. They got to 40 and stopped scoring. They need to get to 60. So it is what it is. Staub is decent, but definitely isn't on Shador's level. Yeah, it's the same thing. It happens everywhere. But just because you know the name of the backup quarterback doesn't mean he's any good. Doesn't mean he's ready to start games. There's a reason he's a backup. There's a reason he's not starting. People need to remember that. Yeah, Criswell transferred back. you lazy bum. All right, back to the list of wide receivers here. We got A.J. Henning. I'll get back to the chat here in a minute. We got A.J. Henning, Michigan, wide receiver. He's the one who said, if they're throwing, I'm going, if I remember correctly. It was A.J. Henning. My bad. He's an Illinois kid. What's significant about him is he is a return man. He's got return skills. So A.J. Henning has return skills. He's got 3 years of eligibility left. He just wants to go somewhere where people are throwing the rock. He did play a little bit, so shout out to him. So that's that. The next guy is Cody Jackson. Now, Cody Jackson's not available. This is garbage. So he started his career at Oklahoma, transferred to Houston, all 1 year. 1 year at each school. He's 1 year at Oklahoma, 1 year at Houston, and now he's transferred again. But this time, he's a 4-star kid. They tell me he's 4 stars. But now he's at Tarleton State. So he just committed to Tarleton State. 24/7, update your website. As a matter of fact, 24/7, fix your website, because I'm looking here, and it's just a bunch of the same names I've already addressed. Nothing big. Obviously, there's Malachi. Malachi Wideman. Everybody's excited. They think he's got a shot to be somebody. Very athletic guy. Tall receiver. Very good. We'll see what happens. Lorenzo Styles here. Just transferred from Notre Dame. He's at Ohio State. 24/7. Fix your website. He committed to Ohio State. Xavier Williams. You guys won't believe this. In 2020, Xavier Williams was at Alabama. He was at Alabama. Come on, man. He was at Alabama. Transfers to Utah State. He got one pass at Alabama. He can do nothing at Utah State. He's got one offer right now. His offer is from NAU, the North American University, not Northern Arizona. North American University. I don't know what division that is. It's in Texas. I don't know what division it is. But to go from Bama to Utah State to your only offer being NAU, man, recruiting services are ridiculous the way they're labeling these kids. This man is not a flop. He didn't belong on the 4-star list to begin with. Quindarius Davis, Jackson State. This kid, man, I don't understand. 2020, you're committed to USC. Then you flip from USC, and you're going to Kansas. And right before you sign with Kansas, you flip and go with Prime. You go with Coach Prime to Jackson State. And then you're at Jackson State, and you stay there with T.C. Taylor, right? You stay there with Coach with Taylor. Okay. Coach Prime gets hired. He doesn't bring you with him. What's up? You're only 6 foot 193. Okay. What's that about, man? What's that about? Is he not good enough? Because I heard Coach Prime say HBCUs need to get more players drafted. But then there's players at Jackson State not good enough to play at Colorado. But you think some of them are good enough to play in the NFL. It's just, I don't know. Bugs me. The double standard. All right. Warren Thompson. Warren Thompson's available. He's in the transfer portal. Wide receiver right here. Warren Thompson played 2 years at Florida State. 2 years at Florida State. This is the type of guy I expect Coach Prime to get. Because then he went to Arkansas as a walk-on. He didn't have an offer. He went there as a walk-on. He earned his scholarship before he left. And then he bounced this year. But my problem is, I think, he's 6'3", 190, by the way. I think he has character issues. Because he was suspended for a half at a game. And we don't know why. Pittman never said why. The head coach at Arkansas. He never said why he suspended him for half a game. So it's kind of, I don't know what to say about that. Dennis Jackson here. He's already at Missouri. This website is the worst. Isaiah Crocker. I actually don't know much about Crocker. I'll be honest. First guy I come across, even though he's from Oregon. I don't know much about Crocker. First guy I come across. I mean, I owe you guys an answer on Crocker. Jaquelin Crawford. Jaquelin. What's your name? Is Jacqueline here? Jaquelin. Hey, Ron. I'm a substitute teacher, y'all. Anyways, Jaquelin here. If I could put it together to you guys like this. There's a way to leave your team,
and then there's a way not to leave the team. Am I making myself clear? Crawford did nothing. Now, he's a transfer. Crawford's from Oklahoma. Goes from Oklahoma, transfers to Arkansas, does nothing at either school. Insignificant. And there's this recruit from high school. And he decommits. Decommits from Arkansas. One of their prize recruits. You guys know I hate recruiting. He decommits. Puts it on Twitter. I'm decommitting. My recruiting's open. And this Jaquaylin Crawford guy writes underneath the post, smart move. Smart move. Bruh. You can't do that, man. That's not how you leave. That's classless. He told the kid, smart move. Smart move not going to Arkansas. So I don't know what his deal is. Now we got Slim Pickens down here. Milton Wright. Milton Wright, 4-star Purdue. Academically ineligible for the whole year. Didn't even play last year. This is grade problems. You guys always talk about grades? This guy didn't play. Very rarely do you hear me talk about a guy who's academically ineligible. Milton Wright was academically ineligible at Purdue. He didn't play. All right. Isaiah Hazel. Hey, shout out to you. Isaiah Hazel, he is in the transfer portal, but he's not a wide receiver. He's a fifth-year senior playing corner. He played corner. He's in the secondary at Maryland. Yeah, he's going to play secondary somewhere. He's not a receiver at all. He transitioned a long time ago. Hey, 24/7, how many errors can I find in one night in one position group? Let me know. Langston Anderson coming out of Oklahoma State. Never lived up to the hype, bro. Now, I guess he can have a breakout season if he stays healthy. He's been injured a lot. He's missed entire seasons. If he can stay healthy, he'll have a breakout season. That's all I have for you. All right. I think I've gone down far enough on the receivers. I could go on forever and talk about every one of these guys, but at some point it's slim pickings. At some point you're like, all right, man, enough's enough. Yeah, I think I've gone down like 35 dudes, bro. So maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's 35. Somebody count it. I don't know. All right, back to the chat. Let's see what you guys got, and then we'll close out the night. Thank you for being here. To everybody who is here, I appreciate you guys. But let's get this chat going. See what we got. Nuss at LSU is solid. Yes, he is. Nussmeier got a cannon. Glad he didn't transfer. Needs to learn not to turn it over. But yeah, starter goes down. It's about over. Yep, for everybody. That's how it works at every team. Same thing they could be said about Stenson. Yep. Come on, peeps. Hit the like button. Thank you very much, cuzzos. Appreciate you, Willie Bobo. What's up, Johnny Swag? Game over. How much faster is the Pac-12 than the SWAC? Frosting. Every player in the Pac-12, it's not even about speed. Let me rephrase this. I was about to say something I shouldn't say, but one second. The huge difference is the quality of linemen. Offense and defensive linemen. But when it comes to skill position players, you can find them at every echelon, and they're all pretty equivalent, with the exception of the blue chips. A 4-4 is a 4-4. 4-5 is a 4-5. The difference is sometimes that 4-4 will be on the frame of a 6'2", 200-pound wide receiver or DB. A lot of your FCS level SWAC guys, you'll find a 4-4 guy, but he's going to be 5'6", 140. Something undersized, under-recruited, and not quite the same pedigree. The good news is the Pac-12, Colorado as a team, is not Jackson State. Colorado is not Jackson State. I want to repeat that again. It's not the same defense. It's not the same offense. You have different defense and offensive coordinators. So to try to compare what Colorado's about to do and look like to Jackson State would be horrifically uninformed and wrong. They're not even in the same ballpark. So whenever I hear somebody say, well, Jackson State didn't do this well, they didn't play good defense, it's like, dude, it is not the same team. It's not. I want you guys to think about Purdue last year. They were in the conference championship and they lost to Michigan. And Jeff Brom was the head coach. And now he got hired at Louisville. No one's saying anything about Louisville is going to perform just like they did at Purdue. It's not the same team. It's different coaching staff. You know, Luke Fickell just left Cincinnati, and he's at Wisconsin. It's not the same caliber of players. It's not the same team. It's an upgrade. People just need to understand that at new positions, you're going to do different things, and it's not the same team. It's not the same personnel. It's a different offensive coordinator, different defensive coordinator. Makes a huge difference. He committed to TSU. Q Davis did? All right, there you go. My bad. At Tennessee State? We're talking about Eddie George? Hey, it's not my bad. He had problems remembering plays. That's what they say. You know, they always say something negative about people. They always do when they don't work out at your school. But shout out to him. Shout out to 24/7 for not having anything right tonight. Do you think Shane Hooks will play for Prime? No, Art by Maxine. You got here late. I do not. I don't think he's even been offered. I don't think he plays for Prime. My wife is snoring beside me. How do I poke the bear? Frosting, you need to raise the caliber of people you associate with. That's all I'm saying. Rico, where did you get the kitchen cabinet lights from? I installed them myself. It's actually a lot fancier if you see it on my TikToks because I'm using an iPhone as opposed to this webcam. But I did it myself I got it off Amazon. I did it in 15 minutes. So it didn't take long. Next. It's insane how unbalanced the Big Ten divisions are. They got to get rid of the divisions, or at least balance the teams. Yeah, I feel the same way about every. Have you ever looked at Coastal in the ACC, or the West and the East in the SEC? It's crazy. Texas Southern. Oh, okay, TSU, Texas Southern. My bad. Hey, he's from Dallas, right? He's from Texas. Louisville got a freshman wide receiver from Jackson State. He's good. Thank you, Daddy Bryant. Yeah, we all know who Coleman is. He's not a freshman. He's a sophomore next year. Why do you think Shane decommitted? Art by Maxine. I believe Shane Hooks decommitted because he's not the caliber of player that can play at Ole Miss. If you look at all his other offers, they're not equivalent to Ole Miss. You're talking about UNLV. You're talking about just a smaller caliber of schools compared to the Ole Miss offer. A lot of players chase the one big school that offered them, and they have no business chasing it. His other offers were ODU and Western Michigan and Cincinnati. So now they're telling me he's on a trip to Utah. Okay, go to Utah, bro. But you can't go to Ole Miss. You're not going to start there. They have amazing wide receivers. They just got Trey Harris from La Tech. That's a beast of a wide receiver. Little guy, but he's going to get a ton of balls. So your comments make me love you more. Frosting, I appreciate you. I have a lot of people who have affection for me, but you frighten me. Just letting you know now. So nonetheless, guys, I hope you learned about the wide receivers in the transfer portal tonight. Remember, I did a live stream last night for the running backs. Or I'm sorry, I did that this morning. Running backs this morning. Last night was quarterbacks. So if you want to learn about a specific position group on the live streams, feel free to watch them over. Go back and learn. Take your time. Listen to what I'm telling you. Some of these players, you're going to want to know their names. They're going to be in the draft someday. When you ask people, and they're like, hey, Rico, how did you do your draft rankings? How did you know all these players? It's because I go this deep on every single position. So when I hear a mock draft, I just kind of laugh because they're only doing mock drafts for the first round. And if you watch me live stream the 6th and 7th round, I'm ecstatic about certain players in the 6th and 7th round because I know these guys. And then I can make a video at the end of the NFL draft. And it's called my all undrafted free agent team. I make a team full of undrafted free agents, all the best players who didn't get drafted. And I know all of them because I'm studying the transfer portal like this. And I'm studying rosters every day. So it's not a surprise to me when I come across a player that I know. So shout out to me. I'm going to give myself some credit. Shout out to Russ. Got it. Although the big names get them excited, they won't get playing time. Yep. Yeah, the biggest issue, Art by Maxine, the biggest issue is a lot of these young players, when you get a big school on your offer list, you are probably a backup plan for them. They're only sending you that late offer because they didn't want you. They missed out on somebody else. So now they got a scholarship available, and now they'll take you. But they don't really want you. You're going to a loaded position group room. They don't want you.
Everybody needs to remember that. When that small school could want you the whole time. You know, Kent State's been calling you since your sophomore year. Kent State's been telling you everything you're going to do. And then out of nowhere, West Virginia throws you an offer 2 days after the signing day because they missed out on somebody. And now you're going to West Virginia because you're like, I'm going to I'm going to be in the Power 5. Should have went to where you were wanted. You know, the same thing happens in relationships. There's a lot of dudes out there in a relationship right now, and they're not all in. They're not committed because they're waiting for a better offer. And then when that better offer comes along and she offers you a chance at a relationship, you take it, but you don't understand. She's actually waiting for a better offer as well. You're not what she's looking for. She's waiting for the next offer to hit. She's waiting for her phone. Yeah, she swiped right on you, but she's going to keep going. You know, you want to find that person that sees you on Tinder or Bumble or wherever. They see you and they stop scrolling. They stop looking. They found the one they're looking for and they're waiting for a response. You don't want that person that just keeps swiping and then you hit them back and like, hey, how's it going? What you doing? And they're like, oh, wait, who are you? I swiped 30 other people. That's how it is with these college teams. They're dating, man. They're getting paired up for the next 4 years. And you don't want a school that is swiping through players, offering all these schools. They don't want you. Xavier Henderson's got an offer from Clemson. Clemson doesn't send offers to any kids. When Clemson sends an offer to a wide receiver, one wide receiver, that means they want him. He should think about it because they haven't thrown a bunch of offers to everybody else. Ole Miss has an offer out to everybody because Lane Kiffin will just get you in the door, let you try out, and he's going to kick somebody out. Ole Miss has 31 players in the portal right now. 31 players in the portal. That means Ole Miss, man, Lane Kiffin is a business up in this piece. And he even said it. You do a Google search on Lane Kiffin, and one of his quotes was, we need to tell these kids the truth. This is a business. I'm out here. He's doing tryouts every year. He don't care. He don't care. He's treating it like the damn NFL, and when we're in training camp. And you got to make the final 53 or you're out of here. So find somebody who wants you. Find somebody who's only attracted to you, doesn't keep looking for anybody else once they find you. And then you'll find a school that really wants you and is going to try to develop a relationship with you. But I swear to you, man, these kids will fall for fool's gold every time. And there are kids going around right now. There's somebody on a dating app right now. Just keep swiping right on everybody. Just keep swiping right on everybody, hoping to hit. Just swiping right. And if you have that mentality as a coach or as a player, you're never going to make it. And if you keep falling for these damn cam models and these bots, you're going to fall in love with the fallacy, with the wrong person. Some of these guys in the transfer portal, they keep picking the wrong person because that dream girl wants me? Oh, yeah, that dream girl. No, dude, that's go to. If all your offers are in the MAC, and then you get a random offer from an SEC school, they don't want you. They're settling for you. Go to the MAC. It is what it is, man. I'm just keeping it real. But nonetheless, it was nice talking to everybody tonight. You know, I do my best to impart knowledge on you guys, to keep it real, have a conversation, answer all the questions. This is always going to be a two-way street. We're always going to talk to one another. We're always going to have a good time together. I enjoy hearing from each and every one of you. I wish you guys well. Let's go.
Yeah, it's our time to shine. Yo, that's the kind of state of mind you gotta combine with hard work and time. You gotta climb to the top. Don't let yourself drop till your heart stops. Let this beat rock. Got a new clock and a new stock for this new rock. Just let your mind loose from the new stock. Drunk off the goose, yeah, thinking that I'm too pop. Getting caught with a few thoughts cause I'm too lost. Off the speakers can't even handle me. Giving what I got, nobody's gonna drain my energy. And I will never stop, I'm motivated by enemies. Setting up shop so everybody remember me. And though I am not going through life regretfully, I'd rather work non-stop, what they call incessantly, than work some odd job just to live life pleasantly. Already got lost in my mind, not a fantasy, I'm getting ill-gotten souls. So stop, drop, and roll, you lost all control and pop off your ball. I got squat, I fall, I'm not bought, I'm sold. My stock rocks, it's gold. Hey, knock, knock, she home, it's shit, talk to close. I ain't stopping though, it's hip-hop, you know. Or is it rock and roll? I'm not dropping down, no, my pocket's strong. You can't stop the show, so get rockin' up. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't here to make it. I ain't never slowing down, keep on going till I'm down. No, I'm never slowing down, cause we're blowing up now. I ain't never slowing down, keep on going till I'm down. No, I'm never slowing down, cause we're blowing up. Words like a weapon, attack with no questions. In my own section and they still disconnected, cause their mind's been infected and they're filled with objection. Too filled for recollection, so we're losing all attention. They don't know I'm in contention, cause I'm gaining their attention, cause I'm making a connection. Lyricism and aggression got me feeling my ascension. In my passion, my profession, I'm attacking my obsession, taking action and progressing. I go off on the enemy, that's what makes them scared of me. Make my plans carefully, then execute them daringly. They say I act recklessly, but that's why I'm effective. See, you can't predict my tendencies, I offer no transparency. Some people think I'm lost, others think I'll be a legend. I'm never gonna stop till I'm one above second. And my thoughts at the top, but my mind stay present. Don't let your dreams stop, cause dreaming is a blessing. They tell me all the same, told me I won't make a name. But it's not about the fame, it's about keeping me sane. So I stay within my lane, feel my blood pump through my veins. Feel adrenaline, no pain, welcome all to my domain. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't